So what is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite builds to run, and a lot of you guys asked me about this build, and we're asking, hey, what build were you guys running when you were running the summit with your buddies? And obviously we were playing on heroic just because it's a lot faster to run through the missions, but typically this is the same exact build that I would run legendary if we were doing legendary. Reason why is because the Scorpio, probably one of the most powerful shotguns in the game. Not only that, this build is so tanky that you can still put out a lot of damage, and it almost feels like you're cheating a little. It's just so overpowered. It's one of the pieces of gear in the Division 2 that actually makes you feel super powerful. Now this season does end February 15th. That's when the new season starts. So you won't have access to this from the rewards track. You'll just have to farm targeted loot, most likely go to the summit, push shotguns on. So if you guys are watching this video after the season, well, there you go. You guys still have a little bit of time, a little bit under a week to keep farming this. Besides that, you guys want to know what build this is, because this build is going to change your life. And the great thing about this, if you feel like you're too tanky, well, you can run more reds. If you feel like you're not tanky enough, or you can run more blues. I ran this build with up to 1.7 million armor, and it still performs really well. So yeah, it's really up to you how much armor you want to run, but I really recommend the pieces that I put the way I did, just because shotgun damage does lack a little bit more crit chance, and you'll see in the build why I spec'd it the way I did. This build is a monster, so let's get into it. So for the specialization, we are running the gunner class, and that is because the gunner class has a lot of benefits. Not only are we using the Banshee pulse as one of our skills that you can only get from the gunner class, but we are also taking advantage of the extra armor on kill and a couple of the other really good perks you get from running the gunner class. So that is my main reason, but at the end of the day, you guys can choose whatever specialization you want. Just make sure you spec into shotgun damage and whatever secondary weapon you guys are using. So our primary, if you guys haven't noticed, we were in the Scorpio, and the base damage on this is 890,000 damage, and that's with me running 1.5 million armor. And remember, this changes. If I run more reds, that number will go up, but this number also goes up with my backpack, and I'll show you guys in a second what I mean. So we have shotgun damage, damage to armor, and critical hit damage all maxed out. And then obviously the reason why the Scorpio is one of the best shotguns in the game is because of the talent Septic Shock. And 1 stack poison, 3 stack disorient, 6 stack is shock, and 7 target takes additional 20% damage from all sources. Stacks no longer increase. So the duration of the status effect is based on the percentage of pellets hit on applying the shot. So yeah, that is what is you need to really just pay attention to with this. That's why it's good, and that's why I like running it. For my secondary, I am running the Dark Winter. If you don't have the Dark Winter, you can just run the non-named version, right? You can just run the Vector, and you can run Close and Personal, which is what I usually run if I don't run the Dark Winter. This one has SMG damage, crit chance, damage to targets out of cover, and perfect killer. But you'll see, as you guys saw in that gameplay, I was running nothing but the Scorpio. Yeah, so that is what this build is all about. Run the Scorpio and just mow enemies down. So for the build, we are running a 4-piece Hunter's Fury, and remember, the 2-piece gives us that 15% shotgun damage and SMG damage. The 3-piece gives us that 20% armor on kill, plus the 10% we're already getting from the gunner class, right? So that's 30% armor on kill, 100% health on kill. And then we are running Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. So that means everything we're hitting is going to be amplified, because with the shotgun build, we're within those 15 meters. Now, killing a debuff enemy with your weapon disorients enemies within 5 meters and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So you can get an additional 25% amplified weapon damage by getting 5 kills. So that's what's really cool about this. So we have armor on here, critical hit damage, and critical hit damage mod. So for the chest, we are running the Cheska chest, because you guys know with the shotgun, there's not a lot of crit chance on that build, on that weapon, especially on the Scorpio. So the Cheska gives us that 10% crit chance. We have weapon damage, critical hit damage, we have a crit chance roll on here, and then we have a crit chance mod to give us some more crit chance, because we want to at least get in the 40% range with shotgun, and you'll see in a second. So we have Intimidate. While you have bonus armor, it amplifies total weapon damage by 35% to enemies within 10 meters. So an additional 35% amplified weapon damage on top of the 45% that we can get from just the 4-piece, which is actually really good, right? So a lot of amplified damage on this build. Then we go here, we have the second piece of Hunter's Fury, which is the holster. We have armor, critical hit damage. For the knee pads, we have weapon damage, critical hit damage. For the gloves, we have armor, critical hit damage. And then the backpack. This is what I was talking to you guys about, the base damage on the Scorpio. You guys saw the base damage, right? But if you look at the memento, we get weapon damage, armor, skill tier, critical hit damage mod. But kill confirmed is what is gonna give us additional weapon damage. Because once we build that 36 stack, that's 30% extra weapon damage. And then every time we pick up a trophy that's right in front of us, that's an additional 15% weapon damage, an additional 40% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency. So we're gonna get that 40% bonus armor right off of one thing for 10 seconds, and we're gonna get that 15% weapon damage. And that's not including the additional 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen that we'll have on this build, which is actually absolutely amazing. And that's why you guys saw I was tanking those enemies with my teammates, and you can just run around tanking left and right. And that's why I like this backpack with the Hunter's Fury. I think it's a great way to run it without having to run something like Bloodsucker. This is actually probably my favorite build to run, because once you get that one kill, it's like having Bloodsucker, because we're gonna be within that range, right? So ideally, that is what you guys wanna go with. Now for the skills, I'll show you the skills. Remember, we are running the Banshee pulse. You can only get this by the gunner class, and we have the 2 Banshee pulse mods, which is radius and effect duration. So that is what I'm running. And then you pair that up with the Crusader shield, and we have a tier 6 shield, so that's going to give us that 60% extra active regeneration, 250% shield health, 40% holster regeneration. So we're sitting at 4.7 million health on our shield with 63,000 active regeneration, which is actually really good with this. So that ideally is what you guys are going to run with this. We check out the stats. You'll see on the shotgun itself, 890,000 base, but once we get that 30% extra weapon damage, it's gonna be up there, right? And that's what's really cool about this. We also have the 42% crit chance. What I said, I want to be around the 40% range, 137% crit damage, 65% headshot damage, 12% armor damage, and that is why we're able to hit so hard, be tanky, and drop enemies. It's just a really win-win situation with this shotgun. And ideally, if you guys need to, you guys can swap to your Dark Winter, which will definitely have that 60% crit chance and then crit damage. But ideally, the whole time we will be running the Scorpio, and that's what you guys saw, my favorite build and what I really enjoy. If you guys have any questions on this build, if you guys want to see more gameplay, remember you guys can watch me on twitch.tv/NothingButSkillz, and I typically run this if I'm running, say if I'm going into groups and I'm helping friends and we're running either Summit or we're just playing, I'll run with this. I run with a lot of builds, but recently I've been running with this. It's just one of, I've been feeling like running with the shotgun. So we'll wrap it up here, guys. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. I'll see you in the next one. Nothing but skills out.